welcome to the Deep Dive. You know, there's something really compelling about a mystery, isn't there? That pull towards the unknown, especially I think with unsolved cases.
Oh, absolutely. Puzzles, suspense, it taps into something fundamental.
And today, we're really diving deep into one that's, well, baffled people for ages. The disappearance of Maura Murray. Over 20 years now, and it still gets so much attention.
It really does. And look, this isn't just, another missing person file gathering dust. It's what some call a perfect storm.
A perfect storm. How so?
Well, you've got this mix of psychological questions, criminal possibilities, even whispers of conspiracy theories all tangled together. It just refuses to be neatly solved.
Okay.
So today we're going to try and unpack what we actually know, look at the really weird circumstances, and sort through the main theories that keep bubbling up. Help you understand why this one sticks.
Right, get into the details that keep people hooked.
Yeah.
So let's set the scene. We need to go back to February 9th, 2004, a Monday.
Cold Monday, snow on the ground, and Maura Murray, she's 21, a nursing student, seemingly has her life going.
But she's about to just vanish.
Exactly. But it's her actions before that Monday that are just odd, really unusual.
Like what?
Well, okay, so just a couple of days before, on the 7th, she emails her professors, says there's a family emergency, she'll be gone for a week.
Okay, sounds plausible on the surface.
Right, but here's the thing. Later, it comes out there was no family emergency, it was a lie.
Whoa. Okay, that changes things.
Big time. And then she packs up her car. Not everything, but specific things. She goes to an ATM, takes out nearly all her cash, about $280, buys a fair amount of alcohol.
Alcohol?
Yeah.
Like for a party? Or
That's the question, isn't it? We don't know. Could be for herself, could be something else. And then she just starts driving north, out of Massachusetts, no clear destination that anyone knows of, heading towards, well, the New Hampshire wilderness.
Sounds so deliberate yet.
Ah.
Aimless. The lie, the cash, the packing.
Precisely. It's that mixed planning for something, but what? And why the deception? That's the first layer of mystery.
Okay, so she's driving north, and then comes the key moment. Her car crashes.
Yes. Her black Saturn slids off Route 112 in Haverhill, New Hampshire, ends up stuck in a snowbank. It's a pretty remote road, especially at night.
And what happens right after the crash? This is critical, right?
It's absolutely critical, because this is where the timeline gets incredibly tight. A local guy, a bus driver named Cecil Smith, he lived nearby, sees the crash on his way home.
Okay.
He stops, asks Maura if she needs help, if he should call the police. She seems okay, maybe a bit shaken, but she says no. Declines help.
Declines help. On a dark road, car in a ditch.
Yep. Reportedly says she already called AAA.
But you mentioned the lie earlier. Did she actually call AAA?
Nope. Another inconsistency, no record of any call to AAA. So this whole interaction is maybe a minute, 2 minutes tops, and it's the last confirmed time anyone actually saw her.
Wow. Okay, so the bus driver leaves.
He goes home, maybe feels uneasy, calls the police anyway, and they arrive really quickly. Officer John Monahan gets there maybe, 10 minutes after Smith left?
10 minutes. That's fast. So Maura's still there, waiting.
No, that's the thing. She's gone.
Gone. Just gone.
Vanished. The car is there, locked, no more.
Locked. So she locked it after getting out.
Seems like it. Or whoever she might have left with locked it. But crucially, no footprints around the car suggesting she just wandered off into the deep snow. No signs of a struggle right there at the car itself.
So no struggle, no footprints leading away.
Yeah.
What did the police dogs find?
They brought in a canine unit later that night. The dog tracked her scent, but only for a very short distance, maybe 100 yards down the road. Then the trail just stopped cold.
Stopped. Like she got into another car.
That's the strongest implication from the dog track, yeah. That she either got a ride willingly or unwillingly, right there on the roadside. Gone in literally minutes. Poof.
Just vanished into thin air in that tiny window. It's chilling.
It is, and that's really the heart of why this case grabs people.
Yeah, I mean, you hear about missing persons, sadly, quite often. But why this one? Why Maura Murray for over 20 years? What makes it stick?
Well, I think part of it is definitely that psychological puzzle we touched on. It forces you to ask why. Why would this young woman lie, drive off like that, crash, refuse help, and then disappear? Doesn't fit neat categories.
Right, it's not a clear runaway, not an obvious abduction at the scene.
Exactly, and because there's no body, no concrete answers after all this time, it leaves this huge void. And human nature, especially online it seems, hates a void. People need to fill it with theories, with possibilities. It's like the ultimate cold case puzzle box.
You mentioned that perfect storm earlier. It feels like all these specific elements just amplify that.
Totally, you have this bright nursing student, not someone you'd typically expect to just drop off the map.
Then there's all that bizarre behavior beforehand. The lies, the alcohol, the cash.
Adds layers of intrigue. Plus, you have conflicting witness accounts from around that time and place. Not just the bus driver, but others who maybe saw something nearby. It muddies the waters.
Right, people remembering things differently, especially under stress or after time passes.
And then, inevitably, questions arise about the initial investigation. Was everything done right? Could something have been missed? That adds another whole dimension of speculation.
It really is a convergence of so many unsettling factors. No wonder it's so magnetic.
Yeah.
So, okay, no clear answers, just questions. It's inevitable that people try to piece it together, right?
Yeah.
What are the main ideas floating around, the big theories?
Oh, there are quite a few. And it's really important to remember, like you said, these are theories based on scraps of info, really.
Got it. So what's theory number one?
Probably the idea of voluntary disappearance, that she just walked away, wanted a new life.
What supports that?
Well, the planning beforehand, maybe? The email lie, taking the money, packing some specific items. It could suggest she intended to leave.
But the crash seems weird for a planned escape, doesn't it? Why draw attention?
That's the counter argument, yeah. That makes it messy. Then there's the darker possibility of suicide. The idea being she drove to this remote place, maybe bought the alcohol for that purpose, and intended to walk into the woods and end her life.
Is there anything pointing to that specifically?
Not really. No note was ever found. And despite extensive searches of the area over the years, no remains have turned up. So it's speculation based on the location and maybe perceived stress.
Okay, what else?
Foul play. This is a big one, obviously. The idea that she was abducted, maybe someone saw her disabled car, stopped.
An opportunistic killer.
Could be. Or someone she knew, though there's no evidence of that. The speed of her disappearance, the dog track ending abruptly. It certainly fits a scenario where she got into another vehicle, maybe not by choice, but again, no physical evidence of a struggle at the car.
Right, that lack of immediate evidence is key.
Then you get into more controversial territory. Some people allege a police cover-up or mishandling.
How so? Based on what?
Often it centers on perceived inconsistencies in early reports, or maybe how evidence was handled, or just a general feeling that things weren't transparent enough. It's a common theme in cold cases that gain online traction.
Understandable frustration, maybe, when answers aren't found.
Possibly. And finally, a theory that sometimes comes up, though less often specifically tied to evidence in her case, is sex trafficking. The idea she was targeted and taken by an organized group. It's more based on general patterns than specific leads for Maura.
Wow! So a whole range of possibilities, from her choosing to leave to terrible accidents or crime.
Exactly, and none of them fully fit all the known facts, which is why the debate just keeps going.
And that debate happens.
Where?
Mostly online, I guess?
Oh, hugely. The internet has been absolutely central to keeping Maura Murray's case in the public eye, maybe more than any other case before it in some ways.
How did that happen?
Well, platforms like Reddit, YouTube, dedicated forums like Web Sleuths, which is like ground zero for a lot of citizen detectives focusing on cold cases.
Right, Web Sleuths. I've heard of that.
Yeah. They provided spaces for people anywhere in the world to just dive into every single detail, share information, propose theories. Maura's case was really one of the first where Reddit especially became this massive crowdsourced investigation hub. It kind of set the stage for how online sleuthing works now, for better or worse.
For better or worse is right. It feels like this whole online detective thing, this digital vigilante culture. It's got two sides, doesn't it?
Definitely a double-edged sword. On the one hand, it keeps cases like Maura's alive. Constant awareness, pressure on authorities, sometimes genuinely useful new perspectives or overlooked details can surface.
But the other side?
The other side can get ugly. You know, intense speculation can easily cross into harassment. People living nearby, former acquaintances, sometimes they get targeted with baseless accusations online. It can cause real harm to innocent people. There's often no filter.
Yeah, that's a serious downside. It moves beyond just discussing the case.
And bigger picture, Maura's case often sparks these broader sociological conversations too. Things like victim blaming, focusing on her actions, the alcohol, the lie, instead of just the fact she's missing.
Right. Or how missing women, especially young white women, are sometimes portrayed differently in the media compared to others.
Exactly. And questions about that initial police response, whether there was maybe some apathy or missteps early on, these are all debates that swirl around her disappearance, adding yet another layer to why it resonates.
It's interesting, too, how her name often comes up alongside others. Those really baffling disappearances.
Oh, yeah. You hear comparisons to people like Lars Mittank, the guy who vanished from a Bulgarian airport.
Or Brian Schaffer, the med student who walked into a bar on camera and seemingly never walked out.
Or the Springfield Three, the women who disappeared from a house in Missouri overnight. They all share that same core element. How can someone just evaporate? It defies easy explanation.
It really does. So after all this time, all the searching, all the theories, Maura Murray is still just gone. It remains one of the country's most stubborn, most perplexing cold cases.
It does. A real reminder of how fragile things are and how elusive answers can be. And, it makes you think. This intense, enduring fascination we have with cases like hers, what does that really say about us? About society, our justice system, maybe just our deep-seated need to solve puzzles?
Is it about closure? Or maybe a fear of the unknown?
Could be both.
Right.
Or something else entirely. It's a question worth pondering.
Definitely. So think about this as we wrap up our deep dive today. If you were in a tough spot, needed to disappear, could you do it today? With everything digital, 24 hours, no trace, and maybe more importantly, what do you think really happened to Maura Murray?